What's up guys, it's Roger and welcome back to the channel, and today I'll be teaching you how to use your blink in Trials of Osiris on Bannerfall. Now Bannerfall is a pretty good map and one that I enjoy quite a bit, and I've been waiting for it to come back around. Before we get into talking about that though, I do just want to say thank you guys for all the love and support lately, with your comments and whatnot. If you didn't know, my last couple videos I was talking about how there's a big old hurricane coming to where I was living, so I had to kind of evacuate. Honestly, I thought I would be coming back to nothing but rubble where my house is, but we got lucky, and that didn't happen. So I am back. Missed a couple of days of trials, but I'm onto it now, so had to play a little bit of that. And now that we are back, let me talk about Bannerfall. So Bannerfall is a pretty good map for your blink. I think people think that it's not a good map for your blink because it's so wide. There's a lot of space between some cover, and that can be a bit challenging for people. However, the thing about Bannerfall is it has very high ceilings, and in most cases, no ceilings. And that's something we love to see with our blink. When we have nothing containing us or putting us down in vertical wise, then we can just use our blinks as much as we want to go as high as we want. And that's something that can really create a lot of things to outplay your enemies. So, especially with today's build when we're using a shotgun, there's a lot of good things you can do with that, and I'll show you a lot of good places you can blink and a lot of good starts and whatnot to use with your blink on this map, and I'll show you why I think blink is very, very good and effective on Bannerfall, in my humble opinion. Now, what is the build going to be today? Well, let's go ahead and start with the armor today. So I'm going to be using Foe Tracer as my exotic here. Now, Foe Tracer has an armor perk here. It's called Relentless Tracker. Visually marks targets, deals more damage to low health marked targets, and provides a small benefit to the airborne effectiveness stat of all weapons. Now, I did read up on it earlier that small airborne effectiveness stat is a plus 20 to any weapon you have in your hand, which is pretty good. If you don't know, your Astrocyte verse on a Blink Warlock gives you plus 30 to your airborne effectiveness stat. So plus 30 is very high, and that's something I always bring up when I'm talking about that Astrocyte verse, but plus 20 on Foe Tracer is nothing to scoff at. That's quite a bit, and it's going to help you hit a lot more of your shots when you are in midair, so it's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about this. But we also need to think about the fact that, hey, this is literally wall hacks. Like, it just is. This is just wall hacks. Bungie said, you know what, there's 1,000 million billion hackers in this game anyways, and we don't know how to update our anti-cheats, so hey, why don't we just make an exotic that literally gives you the cheats, so you don't even have to go out there and download them, you know? That sounds like a pretty good idea. Hey, Bungie, it was not. No, it's not a good idea, but you know, here we are, so hey, why don't we just abuse it a little bit, right? So you do deal more damage to low health marked targets, but that's only going to kick in when the target hits 30% of their health, because that's when they're critically wounded at 30% HP, and then everything after that will do 1% more damage to them for each percent of missing health they have, is how I'm understanding it. So if they're missing if they have 10% of their health left, then you're going to be doing 20% extra damage to them. The thing is, that's usually like one more burst of your gun anyways and whatnot, like one or two more bullets, so that extra damage in PvP doesn't really matter. I looked it up, and from what I found, it does apply in PvP, although I could be wrong, that information could be incorrect, but from what I saw, it does apply that bonus damage in PvP, although the bonus damage really doesn't matter, because when your enemy is that low in PvP, they're just going to kind of die from the next shot anyways, so even if it does apply, it doesn't really make a difference. But what we really care about on this is visually marking the targets, of course. When you aim onto a target for 1 second, it's going to mark them, and then for the next 5 seconds, you can see them through walls or anything they go behind, so that's just very, very useful. Even if they go invis in that time, you can see them straight through the invis, which on a map like Bannerfall is actually very, very useful. There's actually one clip I'll show you today where an enemy goes invis, and I lost tracking on him for a second because he was standing in front of the sun. Now, we all know how annoying it is with the lighting in this game interacting with invisible enemies, and I kind of lost my tracking on him. I couldn't find him for a second, but when there's a bunch of bright red arrows pointing, hey, here's the doofus right here, that helped me find him really quickly, and I knocked his skull cap off. You can go ahead and look at the rest of the armor and the mods here if you would like to. Nothing too crazy. We have a quick charge on here with Ever Ready as its passive perk. That's going to give us plus 20, I believe it is, handling to our shotgun here. Now I have 66 handling, so that brings our handling up pretty high. We'll talk about the shotgun more in a minute, but when I don't have quick draw on my shotgun or SMG, I like to slap on quick charge with Ever Ready just so I can pull those guns out a little quicker. Just some unflinching down here for one for each of our weapons, and then some powerful friends invigoration, you know, just a bunch of stat type stuff. And some stuff on our cloak here, utility kickstarts. If you don't know, utility kickstart is a really good mod. I would use stasis on your class item, so the cloak here in our case, and you can slap on a utility kickstart. It only costs 1, so you can put 2 of these on, and it says when your class ability energy is fully expended, you gain class ability energy. So you use your rift, you use your dodge, your shield, and you're going to get a bunch of energy right back really quickly. So that's something that you really want to have on. You're going to have your dodges out the wazoo if you use these mods. For the stat spread here, I do want to touch on this because a lot of contention comes when we are talking about what mobility to leave our hunter at. Now I am at 80, which means that when I have a lightweight frame weapon out, like my Without Remorse shotgun here, that is going to bump up to 100. So technically I am kind of at 100 mobile today, and I think that's fine. You don't need to be at 100 mobile when you are on Blink Hunter. Just remember that there's so many ways to get your dodge back that being a 100 mobile is not necessary in the slightest. That is one thing that I really can't say 100% solidly after these couple of weeks, month now that I've really been getting used to Blink Hunter. You do not need 100 mobile on your Blink Hunter, but if it is something you want to run, go ahead and run it, because at the end of the day, whatever you are finding success with, that's what I want you to run, and that's what you should be running, because hey, we all want to win, and if you're winning with 100 mobile or you're winning with 1 mobile somehow like a mad lad, then you go ahead and do that. You might be walking around like Tommy the Turtle, but that's personal preference, I suppose. The other thing here is 100 recov. I always run 100 recov. If I don't have a run 100 recov on, I feel a little weird, so that is a personal thing. But especially on Warlock, of course, you want 100 recov because that is the class stat on Warlock. But even on my Hunter, I make sure I'm always at 100 recov. The other stuff is just kind of where it is. I'm still getting more armor, masterworked and whatnot. So this is just kind of what I have right now for my stat spread. I'd love to get more discipline, but it is what it is right now. Why don't we go ahead and talk about these weapons next? So for our primary weapon today, we are going to be using the No Time to Explain. This is something that is used very, very much every week in trials. You can go to the trials reports and see that this gun is always used quite a bit. And even today, I saw it usually at least once on the enemy team or on my teammates when I was in trials, because people love this gun, and there's good reason for it. It's a high impact frame, it's a very solid gun. You shoot 10 times critical hits, you're gonna get a little buddy that pops up next to you. He shoots some bullets out too, and it's a very solid gun. You can easily smack entire groups of people, especially with the passive here. Whenever you hit those crits, it's gonna put those bullets straight back into the gun. It just helps you really keep shooting, and you can spray down an entire enemy team in a matter of seconds, and it's just such a solid gun. The stability is pretty high at 60, and with the high impact, they don't take that much flinch anyways. And in the current meta we have with the sandbox, flinch is something that hits really hard if you don't have high resilience, but it's honestly something I never really noticed that much when I'm using No Time to Explain, even when I have a low resilience stat like I do right now. And pairing with that, we touched on this a little bit, is the Without Remorse shotgun. Now this is a beautiful shotgun. Lightweight frames are something I highly recommend you pair with your Blink. Why is that? Well, lightweight frame weapons are going to give you plus 20 mobility when you have them equipped. Not to mention they are going to give you a 6.25% sprint speed bonus. There are only a few things in the game that will actually make your sprint speed faster, and lightweight frame weapons are one of those things. So those are the reasons I would really recommend to you to run a lightweight frame weapon, whether that be something like a Funweb SMG or what we're using today, a Without Remorse shotgun. Now you can actually craft this shotgun. It is a haunted weapon, so if you're wondering how to get it, it was available last season. So if you didn't get one, don't worry. What you can do is go to the Helm, go to the Crown of Sorrow, and you can get enough there. After a while, you can get enough deep sight ones of these that you can go ahead and craft yourself a god roll. Now, what do I have on here? What do I recommend you to a god roll? Well, I like to have small bore on here for some range and stability, accurized rounds for range, and then enhanced hipfire grip is my top choice in this perk column. So we're going to get greatly increased accuracy, stability, and precision hit targeting when firing from the hip. Now, this really is a hipfire machine when you have hipfire grip on here, especially when it's enhanced. I highly recommend running enhanced hipfire grip. Now, what really makes this shotgun so good is right here, enhanced fragile focused. So this weapon gains bonus range until the wielder takes damage. The bonus returns with no damage is taken for a short duration. So that gives you plus 20 to your range. That's a lot when you think about that for 2 seconds. Plus 20 to your range when you haven't taken damage for a few seconds. So you're going into combat, if your enemy doesn't see you coming especially, you take that shot before they hit you, you're having 92 range right here. I do have a range masterwork on this, I will say. So you have 92 range before you take any damage. That's crazy. You're going to be mapping people pretty well with this. Of course, we do have extrovert here as our origin trait. Final blows while near multiple combatants or near nightmares to restore health. Now, I know Trials of Osiris is a nightmare. Any Titan with a Lordly Splendor on is going to be a nightmare, but unfortunately, it's not coded, so those count as nightmares. Those are just mostly things that are going to haunt your dreams when you go to bed at night. But if you have a nice little nightlight in the corner, that should kind of subdue those bad dreams a little bit. Now, of course, if you want to do what I do and slap a little Trials Memento on here, you get this beautiful shader, and I would highly recommend that. Last note here, I will say I do have a freehand grip on here that's going to to increase the accuracy and ready speed while firing from the hip. Now I will say, when I don't have quick draw on a shotgun, I usually recommend you to run quick access sling right here, just so you can pull your shotgun out a little quicker. But since this is so good, it already has enhanced hipfire grip, I like to run freehand grip just so you can really maximize the potential of hip firing with this shotgun. Now I do want to add, even though this thing is a hipfire machine, I always recommend to you to aim down sights before you take your shots. You always want to try to aim down sights onto your target so you can really try to map them as best as possible, but the fact that you don't need to do that and you can still get reliable hip-fire one-shots with this shotgun is what makes it so solid. Finishing it off, we do have a half-true sword down here with Eager Edge. I don't use this at all today, but I will mention that I have it on just because I know you guys like to know. What are you running, Roger? Well, if you want to know, it's this sword right here. I think we have all the weapons and mods and armor covered. If you have any questions about that, leave them in the comments, but let's go ahead and hop into our Arc 3.0. So here we have our Arc 3.0. I will say, to start off, I am running an Arc Staff today. Now, I think I'm actually going to switch back to Gathering Storm. I think it's a very solid super, and the thing is, I actually get a Gathering Storm in my matches. This is an 820 cooldown compared to a 916 cooldown. Not the biggest in the world, and even with 70 intellect, I will say, I just wasn't getting these Arc Staffs. Usually when I was running Gathering Storm, it's a low enough cooldown that I would usually get them by maybe round 4 to 6, depending how well I'm slaying out. But even at 70 intellect, with an Arc Staff, I got 1 the entire day, and I think that was in round like 8 of a match? So it was a match that went really, really long, you know? So if you're not getting those long matches, you probably won't get these roaming supers that often, even if you are slaying out a good bit. So that is something to keep in mind, but of course the roaming supers are going to be the best for wiping out an entire enemy team, so it's really up to you. If you're some kind of frag master, you know, you're looking like Rambo out there with your freaking light machine gun just spraying people down, you're getting kills out the wazoo, and you want to run this Arc Staff, then you be my guest. But I do think Gathering Storm is a pretty good choice, especially when you think about the fact that we are on cap point right now. Gathering Storm is something that's similar to a Nova Bomb, where you want to throw that at those cap points when there is a bubble or a Well of Radiance or just anybody capping, to be honest, and you can shut them down really easily. Now this Gathering Storm does not one-shot bubbles or Well of Radiances, but it does pretty good damage, and you can use it in some certain ways to kill people in bubbles or inside of Well of Radiances, or even just kill the well really easily with the Gathering Storm. So there are ways to use the Gathering Storm really easily to counter those things, so keep that in mind, and I'll show you that in later weeks, but I am running the Arc Staff, I will just say, for this week. Coming over to our abilities here, I have on Gambler's Dodge. So you dodge to perform a deft tumble, avoiding enemy attacks. Dodging nearby enemies will fully recharge your melee ability. That's something you're really going to notice when you go into those shotgun engagements. You take out one guy with your shotgun, you hit them with your enhanced melee ability, and then you dodge, you get your melee right back, and you can kind of do it again, and that's something you really want to keep in mind, and it will come in handy quite a bit. Of course, we have Blink on because we're not some little stinky boy that uses one of these jumps. You think I want to jump more? No. I want to put my fist in front of my face and go woohoo and just fly through the universe, baby. Come on, this is Blink we're talking about, and we're not no little boy. No. We use Blink around here. All right. Let's move on. But we use Blink. All right. Combination Blow, a quick strike that temporarily increases your melee damage when defeating a target, stacking 3 times. That doesn't usually come into effect in PvP. That's more of a PvE part of this, but the good PvP part is coming down here. Defeating targets with this ability also fully refills your class ability energy and restores a small amount of health. Now that heal is actually pretty crazy. It's nothing negligible. It's nothing to scoff at. It is pretty noticeable. It's honestly kind of similar to Devour in a way. You get that melee kill and you're going to heal quite a bit and be ready for the next engagement. Not to mention it also fully refills your class ability, so this is just quite another way to easily get your dodge back very, very quickly. Now coming over here, we have Arc Bolt Grenades. I think this is the most solid all-around grenade just to throw at your enemies, especially considering that I do have on the fragment that lets you jolt your enemies when you hit them with a grenade, but we'll talk about that more in a minute. Now coming over here for our aspects, I have Flow State. I think you always need to have Flow State on. I had a comment the other day that was like, why would you have Flow State on? It's the worst thing in the game. Why would you use Flow State? Are you smoking the good ganja, my guy? Are you literally blazed out of your freaking mind? I think you shot your goddamn earlobes off with how much reefer you are consuming in this state, because Flow State is necessary on Arc Hunter. Defeating a jolted target makes you amplified. Hey baby, you want to get amplified? You need Flow State, my guy. And I don't think I really need to go for any more than that. If you want to get amplified, you need to have Flow State on. It's pretty simple. Obviously, you need to use Flow State. I don't think I really need to explain it anymore. And if I do need to explain more, then, yeah, maybe you hit one too many splees yourself there, buddy. But Hey, that's okay. Let's move on to our next aspect today, which is actually Tempest Strike. Now, this is going to be while sliding you activate, and it's going to throw out that nice uppercut attack. Does pretty good damage. I think I saw it do upwards of around 126 damage, and I think it can do maybe a little more than that, especially if you could have your enemies weakened or something like that, but it will do somewhere around 120 to 130 damage, somewhere in that range for the most part, which is nothing to laugh at. Not to mention it's going to jolt your targets, and combine that with our flow state here, and you're going to get amplified every time you get a melee kill with this. Now listen, if you saw 2 weeks ago on my video I made with a Blink Hunter on Midtown Trials, I told you that the best combo is always going to be Flow State and Lethal Current. I do think that is very much true. I think Lethal Current is insanely good, and I think it's way better than Tempest Strike. But that doesn't mean I think Tempest Strike is bad. And that's quite the contrary. I think Tempest Strike is very, very, very solid. I mean, it has a very good range that you can hit your enemies from. The thing is, sure, this has really good range, right? You get a lunge. You get a lunge when you have Lethal Current. So you use that dodge, you get the lunge, and I do think, I mean, I know that this goes longer than the lunge does with Lethal Current, and this can hit more enemies, but the explosion that you get on Lethal Current after you hit somebody is very good, and I do overall think that Lethal Current is just a way better choice, especially if there's enemies grouped up on each other. Lethal Current will take them out way better, I think, than the Tempest Strike. Even though it can pierce through enemies and take a bunch of them out, I do think Lethal Current is better, but I do still think Tempest Strike is an amazing aspect, and if you want to use it over Lethal Current, I don't think it's going to hold you back really at all. I think you are still going to flourish just as much as if you use Lethal Current, and it's just kind of a little bit of different playstyles, to be honest with you. So it's whatever you feel like running, and I wanted to run a little bit of Tempest Strike because it's a very fun time, so that's what we have on this week. Now let's head down here to our fragments. Starting us off, we have Spark of Momentum. Sliding over ammo bricks, reload your equipped weapon and grants a small amount of melee energy. Now it looks like the amount of melee energy this gives you is around 10 to 15%, to be honest. I was trying to look at it when I would use this, and I think it's somewhere in that range, but I can't say definitively, and I did not look it up, so I apologize for that. But just eyeing it myself, it is what it looks like, is around there. Now also, the fact that I really like is this gives you slide shot built in. Sometimes you're in the middle of a fight, you know, you go in with a shotgun, you take out the first guy, maybe it takes both of your shotgun shots, but you can slide over the ammo he dropped and immediately reload it and then take out the next guy that's coming straight at you. Sometimes you don't have time to reload your shotgun, and that can really be nice. And you don't even need slide shot on your shotgun when you have this fragment on. I would highly recommend this, and I do want to say, because I might not mention it later when I'm doing the gameplay breakdown, when you finish a round, maybe you use your shotgun and melee combo to finish the round out. If you see there's special ammo on the ground and you don't have your melee ability up anymore, make sure you slide over that ammo and pick it up as much as you can, because you're going to get a bunch of melee energy back really quickly when you do that. So if the round ends, don't just sit there and, you know, staring at your screen like a freak in the nature. Just make sure you're looking around, is there any special ammo around me, and slide over it and get some of that energy back into your melee, okay? Now coming over here, we have a Spark of Recharge. While critically wounded, your melee and grenade energy regenerates more quickly. As I was saying earlier, I don't have the best discipline, so this is something I really like, and I think it kicks in pretty often, where you get low, you dodge out of combat, and then your melee and your nade are going to get some energy back to them. Just another way to get our abilities up a little quicker. Coming over here, we touched on this a little bit earlier, Spark of Shock. Your arc grenades jolt targets. I usually always have this on. It does bring down your discipline, so if that's something you don't want to bear with, then take it off. You know, that's completely fine, but this is a good way to get your enemies jolted from a distance and then take them out from a distance, and you can still get amplified in combination with your flow state. So that's why I like to have it on, and I think it's just all around very solid, and I have this on in almost any build that I do. And last but not least, we have Spark of Focus. After sprinting for a short time, your class ability regeneration is increased. You're going to lose 10 mobility there, so take that as you will. If you want to keep max mobility and this is bringing you down, you can finagle that yourself, but I very much do enjoy Spark of Focus. You're going to see focus breathing pop up on the left side of your screen after you sprint for just a couple of seconds. I think it's honestly like 1 second, and you're going to see your class ability energy, your dodge, fly up. This is just another way, like I was saying earlier, there's so many ways to get your dodge ability energy back, and this is just another reason why we do not need to be at max mobility. Because you can take away 2 tiers of mobility, have a lightweight frame weapon and be at 100, or even if you don't have a lightweight frame weapon, you can still be at 80 and use something like this and easily get your class ability energy back. Or you can go ahead and get a kill with your punch and get all of your class ability energy back, you know? So there's just so many ways to get your dodge ability energy back, and that's why I think you do not need to be at 100 mobile if you do not want to. I think that is the entire build cover. I got my hunter looking drippy here. You let me know, do you like the drip? I mean, I got on the Fortnite arms and the Fortnite legs, so if anybody's a gamer, it's these 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds playing Fortnite. I don't know who plays Fortnite anymore. I'm going to be honest, Fortnite's pretty poggers. Like, I don't play it, but Have you seen those Fortnite ads they give you on YouTube and stuff? They're pretty cool. I feel like now that I said that, somebody's gonna get a Fortnite ad on my own video. You let me know if that happens in the comments, 'cause that'd be pretty funny. But a few things before we get into it, I do want to say, as always, we are on the road to 10K subs. You don't have to sub if you don't want to, you can just watch the video and enjoy it, but I would very, very much appreciate it, and I'd love to have you. And then also, Blink Enthusiast, this is my clan, it is set to open, so if you want to go to Bungie.net or your Destiny 2 mobile app, like I said, Blink Enthusiast, it's set to open. You just go ahead, type the name in, and you can go ahead and join. We have 2 members missing right now, and if anybody is inactive for 2 months, I do kick them, because I think 2 months is plenty of time where it's like, you didn't play for 2 months? Alright, buddy. You're out on the streets, pal. Sorry. You don't gotta leave, but you can't stay here. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to go ahead and join, we'd very much love to have you. And then last but not least, I do always have my Blinkville Discord server. That's going to be linked in the description in the top right. So if you want to go ahead and join that, I'd love to talk to you there. Again, if you have any questions about the build at all, leave them in the Discord server or in the comments, wherever you want to talk to me. I'd love to have a little conversation with you. But yeah, I think that's everything we need to mention. So why don't we go ahead and blink on into this gameplay breakdown. Now, when it comes to a map like Bannerfall, there are a lot of different starts you can do. This is one of my typical ones. I like to blink up here, blink to the left, and come down to the left, and see if I can take an angle. Now, there's plenty of places you need to watch out for here, so be very careful. If you don't see any radar pings, you can do what I'm doing right now and push forward and get an angle towards the flag, which happens to be spawning around where B flag usually spawns in control. Now, one of my teammates got a pick, so I decided maybe I'll push up a little bit, and then he got absolutely domed. You know, his head got sent to the Wizard of Oz land, whatever the hell it's called, and I just flew in with my shotgun because I did not want this guy to easily get a res and win the round. Now, that ended up being a really good choice, and I think if I sat back, I probably would have lost. I could have tried to pick them off. The thing is, there is a little bit of an area on the left side where you can stand completely behind the wall and not even be able to get shot, but you can still cap the flag. So if I didn't go in aggressively, I probably would have just lost to them capping, because most people will just lean on those cap points, which is, you know, whatever. Go in here, smack the first guy with my shotgun. Bungie said, hey, let's put a giant banner on your screen when you're in the middle of playing the game, because that's going to help you shoot people, which I said, okay, sure, it will. So then I smacked the other 2, and you can see the hip fire on this thing is very, very solid. I didn't even aim down sight completely on any of those shotgun shots, and it was completely fine. Now, coming over here, there was kind of like some hackers in the enemy team, or at least lag abusers. I forget the exact situation, but that's why I was standing on the edge of the map. I was like, you know what, let's see if my teammates actually do anything first. And they did, so I kind of went in, followed up, and helped them out. My Titan loved me, slam me into the wall right there. You know, he saw some voluptuous cheeks on me, and he wanted to get in there, but I was like, hey, buddy, listen, I got people to shoot. And that's exactly what I started doing. You can see they put a Titan shield down there, so I knew they were going to have some overshields, so I chucked in my nade, but took a lot of damage. Now, this blink I'm going to do right here is easily going to get you right up to that platform every single time, so just do that. You don't want to put too much control into your movements right there. You don't want to put any kind of sprint or anything. Just walk forward and do your blink. You'll land right on that platform, and you can easily go inside. You can see there I took one guy out and went to res my teammate. For some reason in my brain, I was like, yeah, let's blink straight into this Titan shield, which, I mean, it was like a floating Titan shield, but you know, it wasn't the best choice for me. Flew in there, smacked that guy. You can see 126 damage from our Tempest Strike there. Nothing to laugh at, you know, that's a good amount of damage. Coming over here again, chucking my nade, and you can see I really like holding this left position. Now, if I see people in front of me, I usually try to sit back a little farther, but those guys pushed really, really aggressively, so I took them both out, flipped to the third guy, and those are my favorite rounds when I can just sit back with that pulse rifle, with that no time to explain, and really just help my teammates get some nice ranged picks. Now, coming into here, though, I wanted to do something maybe a little more adventurous first round, but then there was a trip mine right on my booty cheeks, so I kind of backed up a little bit, absolutely mapped that guy, got a headshot with a shotgun after all, flew in, take out this boy, hit him with a Tempest Strike, but he decides to jump, so I switched to my no time to explain really quick and smack him out. Teammate takes care of the third one. We win that round pretty quickly. Now, looking around, just aiming up and down really quickly to see where the enemy is. I saw him up top, and you can see, look how long he's getting tracked by the foe tracer. I went in really aggressively here because I saw the foe tracer with my wall hacks there. He went to the lower part. Since I saw he was on the lower part, I assumed he would come this way, and that's exactly what he did. You can see I smack him pretty good with that Tempest Strike there. Now, I don't know if there's actually any tracking on that Tempest Strike. It kind of seemed like it there, but it also might move depending on where you move your camera. I don't actually know, but it's something like that. Either way, it smacked that guy pretty good in his cheekage. You can see again, the foe tracer just marking that guy. I could watch him easily on that heavy, flick over to my left, take out that guy, and let my teammates take out the guy on the heavy, because I already had him pretty low. But the fact that you have these wall hacks for about 5 seconds on these people is absolutely insane, and you can just wait. As soon as you see them coming back around that wall, you knock their little head off, you know? Throw in the nade here, smack this guy, and then I see his teammate is flying in front of him, so I decided to blink in with the shotgun very aggressively. I hop up top here, and I'm not hopping on Pop, but I am hopping on DMJ 2000 there, take my fist, put it right into his booty hole, and knock him in the next dimension. Unfortunately, I do die to that last guy, and if you're wondering, yeah, my teammate did throw that round, so I just cut it out because I couldn't bear to watch that again. Saw a sniper player up top there, so I shot him a little bit in the booty cheek, and I flew the heck out of there. Did not want to get smacked, and I decided I could come in for a flank. Now, I kind of got smacked by their annoying dodge or whatever the heck it was, but it was okay. I was able to smack him, and I went really aggressive because I saw the radar ping, but unfortunately his shield did some kind of weird, like, delayed casting. I don't know if this is happening to you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you been getting a lot of lag abusers lately? And even if it's not lag abusers, maybe it's just the game itself. Here I want to mention something really quick. You're going to see I start shooting this guy. He's tracked by the foe tracers. He goes invis, and this is what I was talking about. See? I lost the tracking on him because the lighting mixed with his invis. I couldn't see him. But luckily with the foe tracers, it was like, hey, dummy, he's right here. And I was like, oh, thank you. So I was able to smack his cranium off, and it's something that's really nice. You don't really think about the little edge cases like that, the fringe cases, but they're nice and they come in handy. You can see I flew really aggressively on that guy, and the reason is, this is 4-2, right? I just won the game right there. The reason I went so aggressive on the first guy is because I knew every single round up until that point, he always went there with his bow. So I got really aggressive with my shotgun, and just predicted he was going to be there, and it's exactly what ended up happening. Now you see I smacked that guy in with my inaccuracy, with my no time to explain there. And so I was telling you guys earlier, plus 20 to your airborne effectiveness stat on any single weapon with this foe tracer on. Take advantage of that. Take some airborne shots. It's nothing to scoff at, you know, nothing to laugh at. That is a very good part of Blink, is learning how to use it in air. And something like foe tracer or your Astro Sight Burst is really going to enable that in-air accuracy gameplay that you need to do with your Blink. Now I threw in my arc bolt here just in case they push, but unfortunately they did not happen to do that. So I decided, okay, what do I want to do to get a flank on these guys? I fly in here, and this guy kind of got away from me for a second, which is very unfortunate. He went around that wall at the last second, but I was able to punch him in the cheek. You can see I do my dodge there, and I got my melee ability completely back up because I dodged near an enemy. Now I come back in here, you can see I slide over this ammo so I can pick that up immediately, and then I'm ready to go and fight without even having to reload my ammo. I don't like capping points. I will say that now. You probably heard me say it before if you watched the channel before. I think it's a very crutching way to win the round, and I would always rather win by actually fighting the enemy, just like right there. Sometimes I will start capturing the point just to kind of bait the enemy into a fight if they're kind of sitting back, and once I get to, like, you know, 90%, I hop off and I go smack them in the cheek edge. Now I hit that guy pretty good. You can see we have ×8 rewind again, take some shots really far down, our time chasm is open, and we can just smack these guys with the teammates. Those long range fights are very, very easy to do with your no time to explain. You can cover the entire width of this map from where I'm standing right now all the way to flag with your no time to explain. You gotta remember, it's a high impact frame. It does those ranges very, very well. I saw these guys right in front of me, so I decided to go with my shotgun. I challenged the Titan Shield. As long as there's nobody lagging, I know I'm always gonna win a Titan Shield challenge, because it's just all about timing, you know, and you're gonna learn that timing over time, and once you know it, it's so easy to challenge those Titan Shields. Now this was another area right off the spawn I like to challenge a lot. Challenge up top, especially if they don't have any snipers and they're using pulse rifles as well, you can challenge it very easily. You can see I had my foe tracers on that guy, and that's why I blinked into him. I was able to punch the second guy in the nut, my teammate took him out, and unfortunately this guy was so annoying with his stupid little fighting lion, just always funk, 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 shooting him straight into my rectum, and I was like, dude, I can go to my doctor if I need a colonoscopy. I don't need you shooting your little fighting lion grenades straight up into my anus. It doesn't need to happen, my guy. Challenge this guy with his leg crotch, knock him out, and I'm looking onto my radar to see where I want to go next. My teammate direct sticks him, and I knew, okay, I need to fly onto that first res as quick as I can. It's a good thing I did because I was able to smack him down, but guess who puts their little stupid grenade launcher straight in my rectum? Mochi! Ooh, here we go. And luckily my teammates come over here, they smack him up, and I had to show this to you guys because it was just so funny to me that he smacks him down, and this guy just starts going crazy. He literally took his nutsack, put it straight into his mouth, and said, brother, start sucking, and he didn't really have a choice at that point because he was just a little ghost on the ground. I dodged out of the way there because that guy had a sniper, and I didn't really want to deal with it. Got myself out of there and was just looking around for what I wanted to do. With your blink, you can rotate extremely fast, so that's exactly what I do. I see he was low behind tree stumps, so I wait and wait and wait, knock his head off with one burst, reload, look at my radar, saw this guy was rushing me, use my shotgun to knock him out, and I thought the first guy would probably be on top of the first res, and that's exactly where he was, so I aimed there very quickly, take a nice little burst, and he knocked him out. And then I took out their fourth teammate, which is the stasis turret, because, you know, it literally is an entirely other teammate when you think about it for 2 seconds. Stasis is balanced, and I love it, and it should really exist fun. Anyways, coming into this clip here, I'm going to throw an arc bolt straight towards the flag. If they were standing here, that would have been very nice, but they were standing a little bit farther back. You can see I smacked that first guy with a shotgun melee combo, and I hit the second guy for 106 damage with that melee, which lets my teammates very easily take them out. Now you can see right there again, another sniper player. I very much like setting up there in the beginning of rounds and then seeing what the situation is like. Now this was not a smart push, but it was really fun and it ended up panning out for me really well. I smacked the first two guys, my teammate comes in after a few seconds, he reses me and I was like, ooh, Papa wants that third kill, where is this man? I see him in the back hallway, takes some nicely placed shots, and was able to dust all three of them that round. I wouldn't suggest going for super aggressive plays like that, but if it is round one or whatnot, you can do it because they don't know your playstyle yet. They don't know how much of an aggressive blink player you are, and you can really get away with that stuff early on. You can see I'm using my blink here. I wanted to go in, I wanted to take these guys out, but you have to remember your blink is also very good for a distraction tool. I went in, I distracted the heck out of them, and all that allowed was my teammates to set up and take them out very quickly with two well-placed snipes. I go back in, I take out the third guy, and we win the round. I'm looking at my foe tracer here, I have this guy tracked, and I knew I could challenge him. I definitely shouldn't have, but I had the upper hand because I have wall hacks, you know? Bungie literally said, here you go, here's some free wall hacks, and I was like, thank you so much, this is a smart thing that exists in this game, so I used them. You can see here, I'm just waiting with my time chasm up, my time chasm blast that guy's pussy into next Sunday, and then I smacked the last guy and we were able to clean them all up pretty quickly there. Now coming into this round, I love blinking across here to the right. If you ever want to challenge outside of here, I highly recommend it. It's a great place to set up. Just make sure you're watching your radar before you get too aggressive. I smacked this invis guy, flick over to the left, smack his buddy, and I was very critically wounded here, so I threw my nade before I peeked. I wanted to throw my nade before I peeked, so that if he was standing where my nade landed, in conjunction with my shots, I would easily kill him about half a second. Now I fly in here with my shotgun, I punch this guy, kind of with my shotgun shots honestly, but I wanted to show you this clip for the good movement. Use your dodge into a blink, and you're going to be able to have some really nice chaining movement there to get out of your enemy's line of sight, and just change your hitbox so much that they probably won't be able to kill you. Now coming into this clip, this guy's up top, I have him marked with the foe tracers. Now he was very laggy, maybe a little sus, you tell me, with this flame monarch. Here's the thing, I have 100 recuff, I just wait till I heal, and I have him tracked, I know exactly where he is through that wall, come back in, take another shots on him, just waiting for my teammates, and there they are, they follow up, they take him out, and now, hey, I have wall hacks on this guy, so what I'm going to do is just keep shooting, and allow my teammate to get aggressive on him. Unfortunately, he gets a wither horde straight onto his PP tip, and that kind of takes him out like he has a bad case of sepsis, but, you know, I was able to help him, and we took him out anyway, so we won that round. Fly in here with a shotgun, smack this guy pretty good, fly up immediately out of there. You don't want to stay in those situations if the enemies are going to keep shooting at you, where you're going to get your pussy smacked. Make sure you're blinking out immediately and getting yourself to cover, looking at your radar, and then reassessing the situation. Some good team shots there, well placed. We take that first guy out, and now we're looking where's the next guy. I fly into mid because I see a very strong radar ping there, smack him really good, and I was very low, but I knew I wanted to protect this next res, so that's exactly what I did. Fly over him, come back through, smack him real good, and I said, hey, my teammates have to have this, right? There's no way they dropped that. Yeah, they dropped it. We didn't win that round. We did not win that round, and yeah, you know, it's just randoms. And when you don't have freelance, this is the world that you exist in. And that, I mean, that's just how it is. What are you going to do? Looking at my radar here, I'm just trying to find these guys, doing some slide peeks, seeing where I can take them out. And I fly in with my shotgun here, smack that guy, shotgun melee, take them both out. It was actually just a pure shotgun kill with the first guy, and you can see how good that enhanced fire grip is there. This is a very simple play, but I wanted to show it to you guys, just to show you how good the Tempest Strike is. This guy gets rezzed, shotgun, Tempest Strike, boom, blow both their bussies out of the water. Unfortunately, they only had 2 people that match, but that was just a hot play. I had to show it to you guys real quick. Coming outside here, we're going to challenge. Make sure you're being careful, challenge up top and up bottom at the same time. Remember, you have your blink. You're going to get places way faster than anybody else is in the match, you know? When you have your blink, you're going to get places way quicker, so use that to your advantage to set up before the enemy gets there. Now this guy, I was kind of like, maybe he's a little sus, because he was really following me very well through these walls with that sniper. Luckily I threw a nice nade there, smacked that guy real quick, had my no time out here really quickly, and snapped onto his head and was able to take him out. Was he sussy wussy? I don't really know-y woey, but hey, he's in the dirt now, so does it really matter? I don't think so. Smacked that guy with a nice flick onto his head, and I'm just looking around for the next ones. Slide in, saw him on top of heavy, and was able to take him out pretty well. Rewind again ×5 is pretty good there, but I decided to go forward. Saw him on my radar ping, but decided, hey, it's always smarter to just res your teammates, and hey, my last teammate took him out anyways. As you can see here, it's the beginning of a round, and I like to peek off against that long-range peek right there. Be careful with that. If they do have snipers, I would suggest probably not taking that peek, and especially especially this week, Arbalest is a big thing, so be careful with that peek. Now I'm just crouching here to get off the enemy's radar. You can see they're kind of walking around. I don't know if they know I'm here, but I saw with how strong that radar ping is right there. It was a very deep color of red. I knew he was right there, so that's why I challenged him. I kill him with my melee, which means that I am amplified. You're going to slide farther, you're going to have a little faster sprint time, faster reload speed, so I fly in, and I'm looking for the last enemy. Perfectly blink into the doorway, come back around really quickly, wipe him out very quick, and I'm looking for the last guy. I see he is close to the middle here, so I take some shots on him. Since I have my foe tracer tracking him, I decided to get very aggressive with my shotgun play. Now he was a Lordly Splendor Titan, so that was pretty risky, but it worked out pretty well. Even though I missed my shotgun shot, I was able to punch him twice in the bush and take him out to secure that round. Now again, the Lordly Splendor, very fun. I decided not to challenge. You can see that's the perfect blink I'm talking about right there to get yourself in the cover. And this guy, you can see the radar pings. I knew he was chasing me. All I needed to do was bait him inside because I was in a bad situation, but I knew I could take them out pretty easily. Take him out, and I wanted to push that res immediately, so I knew somebody would follow up. He did. I took him out, and I kind of fucked up here because this guy was sitting on top of the flag, right? And I thought maybe I had enough time to take my teammate before I had to push. You can see if it's a test of skill, I'm going to wipe his floor with him every single time. I mean, he's crushing Lordly Splendor, Laymon, maybe he had Laymon on, I don't even remember at this point, but that's why I don't like cap points. I think it just takes the skill out of the game. It's the same reason I don't like heavy ammo, because the point of the game should be we test our gun skill against each other, right? I mean, look, I'm literally using frickin' wall hacks. This shouldn't be in the game, but it is. And we're just going to use it. Smack this guy pretty good, smack the second guy with my teammates, and then this guy just sits back. He takes me out with a shotgun, but then eventually my teammates kill him, but it just takes a little while, so I cut it out for you guys. Coming to this next round, we're flying around. If the spawn point, the cap point here, is outside, I usually like to go outside to match that, just because I don't want them to get on the cap point super fast with no kind of contest. This is the last play here, so I'll let that play out for you guys and just say thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, or hit that notification bell to see more in the future, I would really, really appreciate that. And I hope you guys do have a really good day. And just thank you for all the well wishes lately. I really appreciate that. And I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. And make sure you are, especially with how stressful trials can be. Just take care of yourselves, guys. And that is it for me today. So, as always, have a great day, Guardians.